coming up.
Are planning to go to Portree today, and then it's engine against the wind. The wind has freshened up, it's not nice. Change of plan. Should have seen that coming. We go into Gairloch.
But I know my storm isn't over yet.
I cocked it up. There it is, the waterfall. We plan to go into Raasay. I think we'll have some rain today.
The floating pontoons in Churchton Bay have only just opened this year.
Today's plan is to sail down here through the Straits of Rhea and then down to Mallaig. We are approaching Skybridge.
There is still some unfinished business here for us.
Good morning. We just left our mooring buoy here in Ullapool. We've been here for a week, almost a week, and we are planning to go to Portree today, which is 55 nautical miles, so about 10 hours. It's 9:30 and we should be there about 7 o'clock, maybe 7-ish tonight. The weather should be okay today, I think. We have a forecast of force 3 to 5 from the southwest, which will be on our nose unfortunately, but the weather doesn't look any better for the next few days, so we decided to take this window to pick that one and to take it. It's probably going to be motoring against the wind. We need to make some distance. We can't fiddle around with sailing, we won't be fast enough, so we have to be in before it gets dark. And as we're south again, the evening sets a little bit earlier than before. There is a large fish trawler that's coming towards us, so we have made a course correction a little bit. We passed them on the port side with about 250 meters. There's plenty of lobster pots or pots here. It's pretty deep, so I suppose they are going for prawns. Prawns live quite deep, and that's probably all prawn boys that we have over here. There's one over there, so it's a bit of a minefield, and we have to take care not to hit one of these. Well, this one looks like lying very, very deep in the water. It's fully loaded, and we'll probably come into Ullapool. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Here we see the Rhea West approaching. She is a wellboat, and she is designed to transport young fish, the so-called smolt, to the Scottish fish farms. She's a hybrid vessel equipped with a large battery pack and is able to connect to shore power. She also carries one of the best fish handling systems on board, what makes this vessel one of the best equipped and most modern vessels on the market.
The wind has freshened up. We're now in the 14-15 knots. It's coming from 35 to 40 degrees, so quite from the front, but it's just about that we can sail. We've put the first reef in both sails. It looks a bit windy, gusty during the day in the direction where the wind comes, and also we have a headland over there, so the wind might freshen up, and that's why we prepared. We're still doing good 6 knots, so that's a good speed. At the moment we're enjoying a sail. We have the wind from this direction, so that's good to sail, but I think from this waypoint onwards it's gonna be quite from the front and down here as well, so it's probably another half an hour we can sail, and then it's engine against the wind. That's what we expected today actually. The wind has freshened up now. We're around 20 knots, slightly over, and we've pulled the second reef in the Genoa already, and we think it's time to take second reef also in the main. It will give us less heel and probably the same speed, so that's going to be fine. It's pretty hairy out here. We have 20 knots directly on our nose. I hope that maybe we will come down a bit in wind. The waves are not too bad, and I think they should be becoming better and better when we're getting closer into between the Isle of Skye. So, but it's still not nice, and it's going to be another 6 hours or so. So if we're lucky, we'll be there around 9 o'clock tonight, just when it gets dark, I think. We're not making too much speed because we still got the tide against us, but it should turn now in probably about half an hour or so. The tide should turn, go in our favor, and then I hope it's going to be a bit better. Change of plan. As you see, it's quite rough. We have continuously like 20, now it's come down to 18, but we had 20 to 25 knots of wind against us, squalls. The waves are now building obviously with that squall, and the tide will turn and will make the waves actually even worse. So should have seen that coming. I didn't. And we changed the plan. We go into Gairloch. That's just to our port side. Can't see it, or just about see it in the haze. And there is a small harbour there with a pontoon, and we're gonna go in there and get some breeze and some air. We did check the weather many times every day over the last couple of days, and being on a mooring buoy didn't help. I was desperate to leave Ullapool, not because of the place, but because of the rolling mooring, and I convinced myself that the forecast didn't look too bad. Wind force 4 to 5 from south or southwest, becoming cyclonic later, sea state slight to moderate, thundery showers, visibility good, occasionally poor. However, I was lulled in the relatively benign conditions deep in Loch Broom that seemed to confirm the forecast. The sun was shining, and there was a lovely breeze from southeast. Catherine was surprised about my decision. Normally, I'm not the one who leaves port in a doubtful forecast. Why would you do this for 10 to 12 hours that this 55 nautical miles trip would take? But we are both eager to leave, and Catherine doesn't mind being out in fresh conditions so much. The small harbour of Gairloch is one of the few safe places on our route to deviate in bad conditions. But as I said, it's a very small harbour and nobody answers the radio, so we don't know if there is a space for us. But we know that there are 2 well-protected anchorages nearby in case the harbour is full. And given that another low will pass tomorrow, this is a relieving point. Luckily, there is space for us on the pontoon, but I know my storm isn't over yet. The assessment of my decision to leave port today is being prepared by the Admiral adjusting the lines in her royal blue rain jacket. Wish me luck.
We are in Loch Gairloch, in the harbour of Gairloch. Had to pull in yesterday because the sea state was just too wild out there for our liking. And yeah, well, I cocked it up. I picked the wrong weather window. We should have waited maybe, but it was just, I had enough of hanging on a mooring ball. So we went, and it wasn't that good. We had some discussions and a mutiny from the other half of the crew. So we're taking a walk to clear our heads, and we're going to a beautiful waterfall.
Yesterday's debriefing was tough. Catherine and I are a great team, and we have always been for the 3 decades we are together. We help and support each other in many areas,
and we complement each other well. But then, when our opinions diverge, she doesn't hold back questioning. And yesterday was an inquisition. And that's a Scottish car bridge, or ford. But we are taking the footpath and the footbridge. There it is, the waterfall. We probably can go a little bit closer, it's just come into sight, but it looks lovely. The Flowerdale Waterfall is a series of low-volume cascades near Gairloch. It's a well-marked, short 5 kilometers walk up a sheltered glen. Flowerdale was given its name by the Mackenzies after its impressive display of wildflowers. There were no midges at all on our walk up to the waterfall and back. However, when Catherine went the second time to get some of the many blackberries, she was almost eaten alive by these tiny blood-sucking beasts. Catherine found some delicious blackberries and now she's making some nice marmalade with it, or however you call it for bread.
Vanille?
It's been cooked and now she fills it in the glasses. That looks delicious. It's shortly after 5 o'clock in the morning. We just slipped the lines off the boat. We rafted up in Gairloch harbour and we're sailing out of Loch Gairloch now. We plan to go into Raasay today, and that's about a 5 hours sail, but the weather should be worse, become worse in the afternoon. So we want to be in there before noon, that's why we have an early go. We are using our Sena headsets at the moment, which avoids any loud shouting. That's much more nice, much nicer to talk. And also, when we were slipping the lines, we could really be very silent and have a good communication even from the boat ashore without any loud noises, so the other boat owners were certainly not woken up. That was quite a zigzag. There were about 25 pot markers that we had to take care. Now the visibility is good. It's more light, but half an hour ago it was still a bit dark. It was still a bit, I think, because the loch is deep here, probably around 60 to 80 meters. That's prawn pots that the fishermen are going for. They are going deep, and that's why they're here. It's very humid, not very cold this morning, and we already see quite a bit of clouds that are up in the air, which shows A, that it's humid, and B, that there's still quite some energy in. So we certainly, I think, will have some rain today, and it could also be gusty with these clouds, and that's what's been forecast as well. floating pontoons in Churchton Bay on Raasay have only just opened this year. The fee is £20 per night, independent of the size of the boat, and electricity is included. The ferry to the Isle of Skye brings a bit of swell, and also the pontoons can be exposed to the swell in winds from southeast to northwest. Raasay has a lot to offer, not the least its modern distillery that produces an excellent whisky and gin. Good morning, Sunday the 27th of August, 5:20 in the morning. We are ready to go, everything is set. We're just waiting for the sun to come up or the light to come up so that we can see something. Today's plan is to sail from Raasay pontoons, where we are, down here through the Straits of Gairlioch and then down to Mallaig. That's the idea. It's 33 nautical miles, and the key point is the area here. The tide is already running now in our favor. We're gonna try to be there before, or we have to be there before the tide runs out, and it runs against us because in here the tides can be quite fierce. Today is one day after Neap, so I don't expect the currents to be too strong through this part here, but still it will give us a nice push. The weather is a bit mixed, some rain, some showers, not too much sun probably, maybe in the afternoon, but certainly not I think in the morning. The wind is predicted from northwest, then veering to southwest and then back to west northwest in a strength first of 3 to 4, then a little bit down 2 to 4, and then in the afternoon up again, but in the afternoon we should be in. Our departure is straightforward. We just have to avoid the fishing boat and the mooring buoys that are just behind us, and then we go out around this buoy here and then we follow the channel down here. So it's pretty straightforward. We're going under the Sky Bridge here. Again, I've done that last year already, and that's about our trip for today. I called the harbour master in Mallaig yesterday because we absolutely have to get in. Tomorrow we have some crew that arrive, so it would be great if we had the space today. And the harbour master confirmed that there should be space. We can just go in, pick one of the finger berths and go in. So when we're there early in the morning, early-ish in the morning, I think we should be there before 11. Probably we'll see most of them gone that will go or just be going, and I think that's probably the best time to arrive. Catherine usually updates our Sailing Polaris channel on Instagram when we are on the way. Feel free to check it out. We are approaching Sky Bridge, straight ahead of us. We're gonna go underneath it. That's the bridge that links the Isle of Skye with the Scottish mainland. There is a bit of traffic around, mainly fishing vessels. Otherwise it's quite calm on this Sunday morning. It's about 7 in the morning, and there's not many sailing boats out. The Gairlioch ferry can transport up to 6 cars, and there is just a space to stand for foot passengers. She serves on the route across the Gairlioch since 1982, and she's the last manually operated turntable ferry in the world. There are no hydraulics, no complex machinery, it's just beautifully simple, so that one person can manually turn a deck loaded with 6 cars. Today, we are too early for seeing her in action, but at least there is something less to worry. Mallaig Harbour, Mallaig Harbour, Mallaig Harbour. This is sailing vessel Polaris Helvetica, Polaris Helvetica, Polaris Helvetica. We just see the ferry coming out of the harbour, and behind the ferry there is a pole with 3 red lights. I don't know whether we can see that on the camera. This is the sign that we are not allowed to enter. That's why, because the ferry is coming out. So once the ferry is out, these lights should turn to green, and then we're clear to go in. Arriving in Mallaig gives us a homey feeling. We have fond memories from last season when we spent a few days in this busy fishing and ferry harbour. There is still some unfinished business here for us. Somehow we missed the famous local bakehouse last year, so this year this is an absolute must. And as we found out, a place not to be missed. Just put the bowling on, there's a bowling at the end.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. Fantastic, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks. All fine.
All good in the hood.
All good in the hood.
A wee bit close. Before, eh?
Yes, you've been here before as well, yeah?
So I didn't say I've got a couple of days off.
Ah!
You're Swiss, aren't you?
Yes, we are. No, we've been here almost a year ago.
That's right,
next weekend of the year. Yeah.
I do remember it. I remember the boat. I remember the boat.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's nice to have you back.
Oh yeah, well, it's always nice to have a stop here. Join us next time when we check out the most remote pub in the UK, reunite with our friends Asha and Mark from Altar of Down.
Hello!
With us on board are Marvin and Manuela from Switzerland. We are at Ardnavurken Point at the moment. It's nice sailing. And we just left Tobermory. Enjoy an exciting race down the Sound of Mull and appreciate the sheltered anchorage of Loch Alin, where we drop our lobster pot. We even managed to catch 1 shrimp. Catherine's anchoring lifting skills have a lot of room to improve. Luckily we have Marvin on board. And in a flick, we are back in Carrera Marina in Oban. We can't let Manu and Marvin return to Switzerland without a visit at the famous Green Shack to taste the local catch of oysters and langoustines.